When it came to me, everyone thought, I'm just a dumb kid. I couldn't read or write till the age of 13. I'm not sure if it was dyslexia. I felt that there was some issue which nobody caught.
Parents feel like if my child becomes a historian or a musician, chances of him being able to survive in a society so competitive is so less.
So music I pursued for some time. I worked as an HR also for some time. Nothing worked out.
So there is a distance between realistic life and a dream life. And I see this in a lot of young people. Like they finish their school and then they go to the real world and they understand how hard it is and how repetitive it is.
Within the first 4 months of working, we were able to make 7-figure income. So within the next 6 months, I got so many script writing projects. I even wrote for Big Basket, IPL. It's not talent that gets you to places. The grit that you have, the perseverance, learn ways, right? Someone who actually couldn't read or write has become a writer. So if I can do this, right, anyone can do it.
This is part of Dreamer series, where we delve deep into human psychology to make sense of people. Today's guest is Shankar, co-founder and creative director of The Rambling Joint, a fast-growing media firm from Bangalore. Please feel free to watch it till the end, and as you do it, subscribe. It means a lot to me. So, Shankar, what was your first memory in life?
Oh, that's a question I think nobody has ever asked me, So when I think about it, I think the first memory that I have is in our house in Delhi. So I used to live in Delhi for the first 4 years of my life. And I was probably around 1 or 1.5 years old. And I can still remember that my mom was making orange juice. And I was just lying down. She had, she had plans to bathe me, so she had put oil on my body, and she had just kept me there, and she was making orange juice. So that's kind of the first memory that I have, and I could see out of the window, and I can hear the traffic. That's what I remember.
And this is happening in Delhi.
Yeah, it was in Delhi.
And how would you say Delhi was back in that time? Do you have any fond memories about Delhi?
Yeah, I do. I think the first section of my life which I spent in Delhi was very dear to me. I was there for only like 4 years, but the memories that I have there was fantastic because the family dynamics we had between the four of us. So I used to live with my dad, my mom, and my brother. It was really nice. We had a good life there, so it was pretty nice. The memory that I have is like very nice. I especially remember weekends where we used to go out for a walk, get some groceries, and make breakfast, usually which is bread and omelette. And I used to sit and finish when I was that young. So I think that's kind of the memory that I have, and it's all pleasant.
And what kind of a child were you, Shankar, like back in time?
Oh, very naughty. That's what I've heard. I used to be, I used to be very sick. Okay, I used to have asthma and a lot of issues with breathing and stuff. So my parents never used to beat me because they know that if they beat me, I'll be dead. I used to be that fragile. So if you ask my brother, he could answer you better because all the tantrums I used to throw used to have a direct impact on him. So yeah, I used to be a very naughty boy growing up. No filter whatsoever, and just throwing things all wrong.
And did you do your schooling in Delhi as well?
I did 1 year of my schooling in Delhi, but that was way later, in 2005, which was my 8th grade. But most of my other years I spent in Kerala, all my schooling.
So what happened after 4 years in Delhi? So what happened after that?
So my parents, my dad especially, wanted to go back to Kerala at one point of time because the Nard thing. So eventually he used to work.
Just wanted to like pause for the viewers. Nard thing, what he meant was basically a nostalgia of home. So he wanted to go back to where he was born.
Native place.
Okay, native place. Okay, continue.
So yeah. So he had this thing in mind where eventually he wanted to settle in Kerala, and once he was sure that had enough to take care of things, he used to work in Delhi administration in the government thing. My mom used to work in NTPC. which is the thermal power corporation. And he took a voluntary retirement back in 94, and the whole family came down to Kerala after that.
Okay. And how was it coming back from Delhi to Kerala? There is definitely a difference in language, Hindi
Yeah.
to Malayalam. How
Yeah.
did you feel as a kid
Oh,
coming back?
yeah, good point. Okay, so the thing was like at home we had a rule. My dad had kept a rule that no matter what you speak outside, you go to school. Especially with my brother who had studied there growing up. We had this rule that at home you have to speak in Malayalam. No matter what happens, you have to speak in Malayalam. So I didn't have much of an issue moving from Delhi to Kerala because I was just 4 years old. But I still remember being very sad because it's like you are moving from a place which you're like super familiar with to a place you are not at all familiar with. You go there for vacations and stuff, but more than that, you have no connection with the place. So it was just, it felt like uprooting yourself, especially for my mom and my brother from one place and, just putting it over at a different place. And to be honest, my mom was not really up for it, but still, yeah, we made the move.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to feel home in a place that is might be home for your parent, but doesn't mean you might feel the same. And what happened after that? So you moved, and then what was the next step in life? Did
Okay,
you?
so I was just 4 years old, so it didn't. Even though I was sad when moving, but I don't think it made much of a difference to me because I was still young. It was very difficult for my brother. He found it very difficult to move from a, uh, you know, you have CBSE schools in Delhi, right? But there they speak in English or at least in Hindi and stuff. But in Kerala, the thing is like even if it's a CBSE school, we, if you remember, we all used to speak in Malayalam. So yeah, that was a very big issue for him. Someone who used to speak Hindi in school and English in school, it was a change which was like completely different for him. So he had a lot of issues, settling down there. But for me, not that much. And within a few years of moving, I also started schooling. So, yeah, it was just fine for me. But I was never really a bright student, which made schooling very difficult for me. Just going to school every morning was a dreadful thing, and I used to cry every morning. So yeah.
And how? Okay, you said like you thought you were not a bright student. Could you maybe talk a little bit into that? What do you mean by not being bright?
Okay, so I had a few sides where I was pretty creative, but when it came to academics, till the age of 13, I really couldn't read or write properly. And I realized that way later in life. I still remember, I'm sure you know the movie Tare Zameen Par, right? It released in 2007, 6 or 7, if I remember correctly. I watched the movie, and that's when I realized, that kid is me. Basically, I couldn't read or write till the age of 13. I used to
Just,
write S the
just
other
to
way
give a
around.
pause,
Yeah.
Tare Saminpur, the movie is about a dyslexic child who have a hard time reading, so he's failing in classes. Okay, continue, Shankar.
So, yeah, when I watched that movie, I could relate to that character so bloody much. So, I realized, I'm not sure if it was dyslexia, but I felt that there was some issue which nobody caught. Okay. And my brother used to be a bright student, so he used to do well and stuff. But when it came to me, everyone thought, I'm just a dumb kid. And I still remember second grade or something, I failed in 5 subjects out of 6, or
Mm.
like 4 out of 5. So my parents were like, yeah, that's how he does. He does not really know what to do. Not good at academics. So they just let it pass instead of, trying to figure out why is that happening. I'm not blaming them because back then the idea of being dyslexic or something was like pretty foreign. But
Mhm.
I could feel that, I'm pretty dumb,
Yeah.
which I later realized it was because of some other issues. So yeah, that's how it was. I was not really a bright student because I couldn't catch up with the
And
rest of
I
my
think like
peers.
during that period, it's very common for undiagnosed problems like ADHD, dyslexia, and a lot of kids do have this. It's quite common now to kind of like people have understanding what this is. But back in time, they would see like you were saying, oh, this kid is dumb or he doesn't know what he's doing, instead of really trying to understand where this is happening. Um, Yeah, that's just my point of view. Continue the story. So, what kind of relationship did you have with your friends at that time, the kids who were around you?
Okay, yeah, I think I'll have to go back a little bit to explain that. Because we came from Delhi, after living in Delhi for some time, we came to Kerala. There is one distinction that we have as a family. Most of my peers, my schoolmates, they had two kinds of friends. One was their school friends who they have come to meet in school, and they've bonded with them and have became friends. And they also had neighbor friends, like people like same aged uh, kids who used to live next to them or something. But because we came from Delhi, the transition was like so difficult that I've till then, when I was 4 years old, till now, I've never had apartment friends or like neighbor friends ever in my life.
Mm,
So yeah, my friendship was just what I had in school. I had just
mm,
a bare minimum of probably like 5 to 6 friends all the time,
mm,
and they were all from school. So when I go home, right after schooling, all of my friends used to go home. They used to meet their neighbor friends. They used to go play cricket or football. But for me, it was just come home. I don't have any friends nearby. I'd just chill with my brother, or we'll go out with the family. But there was no like neighbor friends as such. So yeah, friendship was like that. I had only school friends.
Now, how was your relationship with your brother? How old was he compared to you? What is the age
Okay,
gap between you two?
yeah, he is 5 years elder to me. We've had like a good relationship throughout. When we were young, we used to be like, how like we all have sibling rivalries, right? So I used to get a lot of attention because I was the
Youngest
youngest
one.
one. Yeah, and I used to properly utilize that. So at some point of time, he used to hate me. But then growing up, yeah, that issue we had. Still, we used to play together and stuff. I still remember there were incidences where I've thrown Maggie, instant noodle thing on his
Packet.
face and stuff. So we had a very rocky, volatile relationship. Even though we were friends, there were instances where we used to hate each other. But then it changed once he moved to college. Because 4 years he was staying in hostel and stuff. So that's when we realized at home, he played a very important part in our
Family
circle.
dynamics.
Yeah,
Mm.
then it completely changed. Now he's kind of like my best friend. So yeah.
Okay, and what happened after, say, I am imagining you are in middle school. What happened after that? So, did you have any idea about where life should go? Do you have any ambitions in a such or like, some direction you would like to go?
Uh, the one sentence answer would be no, absolutely not, because
Mm.
I couldn't read or write properly. I never really knew like what to do with my life. Everyone had some or the other ambitions. I never really had any. But I think I was around 13 when all of a sudden something clicked and I started reading and writing. I
Mm.
still remember the first book that I picked up was Sherlock Holmes. I'm diverging a little bit because I had to
It's no
explain
problem.
the whole point and get back to the thing, right? So I picked up Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and I finished the what is the novel called The Hound of Baskerville, which is like a
Mm.
160-page thing in just one day. So from that day onwards, things just flipped. I could read and write properly. Then within the we still have it. We had this encyclopedia books, right? There are like 26 volumes or something.
Mm.
I finished it in the next 6 months, and the knowledge that I gained from there really helped me figure out what I want to be. Okay,
Mm.
and I found that I have a deep interest in history and also in music. So my family has always been inclined towards music. But the issue with being interested in history and music is that uh, back in the day when we were in school, it's not something that you can tell your parents, like, I want to be a historian, or like,
Mm.
really wanted to be an archaeologist. But
Mm.
you can't just tell them, I'm going to take a master's in history and probably do something like this, or be a musician. The first thing they'll ask is, like, what is the curriculum? Where will you go and study? You can either take engineering or be a doctor. And even taking commerce was like frowned upon, right? So
Mm.
even though I had these things in my mind, history or music being the first priority, yeah, I never really could. I did have the guts to, like, pursue it back then. So even though I wanted to do all these things, I went and pursued science in high school. Yeah. So
And I
middle
think,
school times, I didn't have much of an idea.
yeah, I think it has to do a lot with the state of the country, in a way. For example, like, if you come to Sweden, I would say there is a lot of freedom in choosing what you would like to follow, and the kind of extents of influence from parents is not as much as India. Whereas in India, India is coming from British colonization, and they are recovering from these problems, and the parents feel like, oh, if my child becomes a historian or a musician, chances of him being able to survive in a society so competitive is so less. So let's make him an engineer. It's a sure bet, at least from their mind. So I kind of understand why they do it, but it also kills the dreams. What happened after that? So what happened?
So, yeah, as you said, things have changed a little bit of now. Just to give an insight, they still say that, get a degree and then pursue your passion, but they have opened up to like commerce and even like entrepreneurship a lot more these days. But back in the day, after middle schooling, even though I knew that I wanted to pursue something in history or music, I just went with the flow. I saw my cousins, my brother, everyone getting into engineering. So 11th and 12th, I chose science. But then by the time I got into 12th, I realized this is not my cup of tea. So there is this coaching center in Thrissur where I used to live, Thrissur, Kerala. I was enrolled there too. It's called Professor PC Thomas coaching
Famous.
classes. So yeah, so by the time I was 12th, I just stopped going all there altogether. And I told my mom, I don't think this is the thing for me. I don't really know what to do.
Let me
So she said,
just a pause, just for the viewers. So PC Thomas or this kind of schools are training schools where students go and stay sometime, and they have very long hours of math, science, and all those kind of specific subjects, so they can crack an entrance exam to the best schools in India. And people spend years trying to crack this exam. That's what Shankar is talking about. Okay, continue. So you
yeah.
stayed there, you
So
don't like it?
yeah, so it's a 2 year course where I had chosen the weekend batches, but by the time I was in 12th, I quit. And I told my mom, this is the thing, I don't really want to do engineering. Again, I was like at a crossroad where I didn't know what to do. So she told me, just write the entrance exam. Let's see what happens after that. So when I was in 12th, that was a transition period for us because my brother had just graduated and he started working in Bangalore. He moved from Kerala to Bangalore. So my mom and dad, they moved with him. And I was I was staying at a family friend's place and finishing up my 12th. So the entrance coaching, if you know it, you need like very good grades to get into like the top colleges. So around like 3,000, 5,000 or something. I'm not really sure, but around that area. I wrote my exam. I got like 45,000 rank. So it was like the whole thing was buried under 10 feet of, dirt. And at that time I also moved to Bangalore and had to figure out what to do. Still I didn't really know how to tell. I finished my 12th. I didn't know how to tell this is what I want to do in life. So my parents, they tried to enroll me here and there, and eventually I got into Christ, and that Christ University in Bangalore, which is where I got into like the BCom honors courses. So I thought, okay, eventually I've got into a good college. Let me just go with the flow, and I'll figure out the music part later. So BCom, second year of BCom. Yeah,
Before we go into that, I have a few questions since we are moving timeline.
yeah.
What was your point of view on religion, spirituality, on God generally at this period of transition from high school to like moving to an adult?
So I come from a family which is religious, and I used to be pretty religious. I used to go to like temple every other day. Every evening we used to go there, spend some time, pray, and come back and stuff. Take part in all the festivals, everything. So I was pretty religious. But I still remember. I should I explain the transition, everything from.
Yes. Make
I
it
can.
like a short, crisp transition.
Fine. Got it. So there is something called this Ramayana Parayanam, which happens in temples
Mm.
during the Ramayana Masam. So Rama is a god here.
And
So
avatar.
sorry.
Now I was going to say like Rama is an avatar
Yeah.
of a god called Vishnu, and Ramayana Parayanam is like reading the book where it explains about the great war of Ramayana.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so it's a month long process which I used to attend with my mom every year. So this particular year, this year that I started reading and writing, right? I went there and I was sitting and listening to it. So the section of the book that they were reciting was about how Dashratha was, he passed away, and he was embalmed in oil so that Rama can come from the forest and do the last rites. So there was one sentence that he said where he says that Dasharatha was 60,000 years old when he died.
Mm.
So from whatever knowledge I had, I was like, okay, Ramayana happened 7,000 years back. Uh, Mahabharata like around 5,000. Then Jesus came 2,000 years. It doesn't really add up. This person was living for such a long time. I don't really get it. That's where I got the speck of doubt, about what we are being taught, which led me through a rabbit hole, resulted in me researching over the years. It was like a 10, 12 year long journey where my idea of religion completely changed. I went from being a completely religious person to someone who's skeptical, to an agnostic person, to an atheist eventually. So I think by the age of 26 is when I realized, there might be a higher power, but I don't know. But what we are taught is not really the God that exists,
Mm.
if a God exists. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I would say like a humanized version of humans' version of how a god could be,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that is what it is.
Yeah.
It could be
Absolutely.
experienced individually through their own experiences. So
True.
I would say like any religious, like my personal view on like any religion and the sacred books that they have, that doesn't define things. That has its own merit in a sense that they are trying to explain what is very hard to explain. But at the same time, it's not the only path. It could be like a
True.
million different path based on the seeker. Who are you and what you want to see of this? You can find it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice that you fact checked the age.
Yeah. So
Mm.
I don't know. It was just a very interesting thing, 30-year old just getting that bit by that bug by
Mm.
just one sentence which someone recited in a temple. So yeah, that's been my journey. 12 years, I think, since I was 26. I know that I don't believe in the traditional kind of God. There might be a higher power, but yeah, it's not what we are taught. So yeah, that's where
Mm.
my stand on religion is. I still go to temples and churches and stuff because yeah, the environment is good and the food is
Mm.
great.
Food is definitely great.
Yeah.
And how was your time in the university or like college,
Oh,
Christ University in Bangalore?
I think those were probably some of the best and the worst times of my life. The best because I got to indulge myself in a lot of musical opportunities. I was part of like around 8 to 10 bands over
Mm.
the course of the 3 years. And one of my bands actually made it great in the local Bangalore circuit. We used to perform every weekend and stuff. So I got to explore all these opportunities, also turn my personality into something that I used to be very introverted, but because of all these experiences and opportunities that was presented to me, it kind of changed. I was able to talk to people who I would never really, go and talk, right? So it helped me build my personality and also opened up so many opportunities, which was just a learning experience. And there were like bad experiences too, because you are in college, you go through relationships and stuff like that,
Mm.
right? So it was a mixed bag, but I'd say overall it was a wonderful time. Got to experience a lot of good things.
And like a lot of self exploration, like
Oh, yeah.
self image, who am I? And I remember like back in time when I was in college, like you have some uh, instinctual habits, like how you behave to people. Some people are really really friendly, they really care about their friends, whereas some people might be just very very focused on studies. But you can see this kind of people in a university, because so many people of the same age coming together and sitting together and talking, and like being in a play. So it's, you see, and then you have to choose, what do I want? Like, since you explained you have interest in music, and there is no adults on a regular basis telling you what to do, you wanted to follow that, and you ended up in a band, and you put the best of effort you could. That is, yeah, university time is always exciting.
Yeah, and this was like, I think I'm not really sure about others, but my experience was like a little different because, after living in Kerala, doing your whole schooling there for like around 15 years and moving to a city like this where Christ University is like a blend of culture. You have people from all across India, even from abroad, right? So it was just a culture shock for me. I was thrown into a place where probably I was not ready to be yet. But then it really taught me a lot of lessons. And yeah, so it was like a culture shock, which I was able to, get, overcome and figure things out on my own. So yeah, the experiences that I've had there has really shaped who I am.
You as a person. And where did you want to go from here? So you were in university, you had such a change. What was your intention? What is the direction?
So when I was in the university is when I realized, I truly want to be a musician. That's the path that I have to follow. There's no other way. And once my course got over, I didn't really do anything for the next year. I was just exploring possibilities where I can get into music and see what can work. But that's when I realized, the 1-2 years after college is when you realize what the real world is. You get a glimpse of what the real world is, right? It's not like you try to do something, you can all the things align and you figure it out. There are a lot of possibilities, there are a lot of opportunities there, but it's very difficult to actually get it done. So the first year I didn't really do anything, and I was like, okay, I have to pay my bills now. It's not like 2 years back where I could just ask my parents and get things done. So eventually, even though I wanted to do music again, I got into a job, like an HR job, which would help me pay my bills. And
And
I
HR is
worked there
human
for
resource.
human resource, yeah.
Okay.
As a recruiter, I spent my time there for like 2 years, and I thought I'll do my music thing on the side. And I had the band. Our band was still going on, but this was back in 2014. Then we broke up. That's when I realized, okay, 6 months into our breakup is when I realized, okay, I took this job up as something that would pay my bills. It's like a side thing that I would do when I actually pursue music. But it actually flipped. The job became my life, and then music was nowhere to be seen. So I used to do a good job at the work, even though I was not into it. But then eventually I got into a place where I was like very comfortable and realized, okay, now is the time to move on. So that's when I was like, okay, I have to leave this work. And
Yeah.
thankfully, they only fired me because of some issues that
I
they
have
had
a
internally.
question for you. So, and I see this in a lot of young people, like they finish their school and then they go to the real world and they understand how hard it is and how repetitive it is. So there is a distance between realistic life and a dream life. So as a young man, how did you feel when you like come to like this understanding, like, oh wow, I want to be a rock star. I would like the band to go big, but this is not easy as I thought. It's a long journey that is through obstacles. What was your thinking?
I was completely lost. Even when the band was there, we were functioning, we were playing gigs. I knew that, this is not something uh, a single person can do. There were 5 people in the band. I knew like they all wanted different things in life. So eventually the breakup was still there. So I knew that, how am I gonna do this on my own? That nagging question was always there at the back of my head, and I knew that I don't really know what to do. So I was lost. That would be the one word that could describe the whole thing. I didn't know like if there is a way forward, and even if there is a way forward, what am I gonna do with my life? So yeah, that's what I felt once the band broke up and the I lost my job too. Yeah.
And what happened after that? So what was your thinking?
Okay. So after that, I was like, okay, probably this is a good thing. This is an opportunity for me to actually pursue music. And I moved to Chennai. There, I had a job, but then most of the time I was pursuing music. But then around like 6 to 8 months into that, I realized, okay, this is not the kind of music the kind of music that I was doing was like alternate progressive rock music. And there was no market for that. So when I went to Chennai, I was like, okay, I'll do something that actually sells,
Mm.
and probably do the kind of genre that I want to do on the side. But 6 to 8 months into that I figured, okay, this is not something that's gonna work out, because even though I'm doing the kind of music that people would like, I'm not getting paid enough. I can't pay my bills.
Mm.
So then again, there were a lot of issues. I had a friend with me who also was there to pursue music. Just didn't really work out. I wouldn't say I gave up on my dream, but I realized, okay, probably this has to wait for some more
Mm.
time. And I had to come back to Bangalore. And again, I was faced with a wall in front of me saying that, okay, you can either continue pursue music in Bangalore, or you have to go back to your HR job. Or probably a third door where you can try something new. If it works out in the next few months, you can go ahead with that, or otherwise you just give up on what you do and go back to being in HR.
Mm. I just have like a quick question in the head. Like when you were following music, what were you doing? Were you a vocalist, a guitarist, drummer?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I used to the main thing that I used to do was play the guitars, rhythm guitars especially, and I used to play the bass too. And vocals, I never used to be the main vocalist. I used to be the backing vocalist. So these are the three things that I used to do: rhythm guitars, bass, and also backing vocals.
Why was it so addictive? Why do you feel like that was the thing to follow at that time?
I'd like to answer that by asking you one question. So
Hmm?
you have like a favorite band, right?
Yeah.
Or like a musician? Who is it?
I mean, I used to listen to a lot of Metallica back in time.
Metallica. So I'm pretty sure you watched their live shows, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now it's
How?
Hans Zimmer. Maybe over time it changed to Hans Zimmer. I really enjoy listening to Hans Zimmer.
See, those are like some of the musicians that we adore. And when you see their live shows, right? Have you ever thought how it would be if you were that person playing that?
Yes,
You have, right?
definitely.
I have been there. Okay. And I
Mm,
know that that's one of the most addictive drug that you can ever have. Being
mm,
on stage, just plucking on your guitar or like singing, that's like one of the best feelings ever. Even if you have a bad show, right? At the end
mm,
of the day, you feel like, okay, I did something on stage, and that's something I would like to do over and over again, even if it's not that great. So, yeah, the feeling of being on stage and then making new music, right? Just
mm,
creating something that never existed in the world, you know,
mm.
that is also like nothing short of a miracle. Making songs, yeah, it's a miraculous thing. So that's why it's an it's a it's a very addictive drug, this music thing,
And
right?
the level
Especially
you
when you,
connect with people as well. Like
yeah, you connect with
very
people.
different level.
Yes.
You cannot
Yeah.
talk. Doesn't matter the language. Music connects everyone who listens. That
That's what.
is
That's what.
a whole different technology in a sense.
See, I'll tell you one thing. So whenever we used to do shows, there have been people who come to us and be like, "Oh, what did you play there? What was the scale? What is this thing? That thing?" That never used to make that much of an impact. Okay, but then after some shows, they'll be like, "Man, I felt that. What you played,
Mm,
I felt that." When people say that, right? That's one of the best things ever. And it kind of builds onto your ego. But
mm.
yeah, of course, it's very addictive, the feeling just being on stage and just rocking it out. So that's why music was a big deal to me. Music still is.
What happened? So you came back to Bangalore. So you were staying in Chennai. You tried to follow the dream. Then you decided, like, okay, let's maybe take a different direction. So you came back to Bangalore, and what happened after that?
So as I said before, I had three options. Try to pursue music again, but I was pretty sure it won't work out right away. So that was not something that I wanted to explore, or go back to my HR job, or start something new. This is where I think this is one very important lesson I learned in life. uh, you might do multiple things and you might fail in all those things, okay, but there is always a bright side to it. So music I pursued for some time. I worked as an HR also for some time. Nothing worked out. But through music I learned the skill of writing,
Mm.
okay, and through HR I learned the skill of talking to people and just networking as such. So I thought, okay, why not give a shot with this writing thing. I set up. You've heard of this freelancer site called Upwork, right?
Yes, work.
So I set up my profile there. I had a few blog kind of material here and there on online. I put it across as my portfolio. Started writing. So it took me like almost 2 months to find my first client.
Mm.
Someone from Greece, a guy from Greece. He wanted me to write a article about safes. Safes.
Mm.
So
Like
wrote
bank
that
safe.
he. Sorry.
Bank safe.
I mean like bank sales, but for home.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I wrote that, and he paid me like $25. I just bought a domain called Rambling Giant. It
Mm.
became my blog, and here we are right now. Like it was 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. Now, yeah, I am a writer and with a well-established blog, which also turned into my company. So
Mm.
the things. Okay, did I digress too much or?
No. Let's go from like, so you tried being a freelancer and it ended up showing that maybe writing is the path you should follow. And you,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
then
So yeah. Continue.
I was like, then what happened? So you bought, let's like go through the story, like the nice crisp part of the story.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So the blog thing happened. And I started getting many freelance clients through Upwork and outside of it. I started using LinkedIn a lot. I'll tell you
Mm.
to tell this to everyone. Whatever success that I've got, it's all through LinkedIn. I was able to properly utilize it to find clients and stuff. Okay. So I freelance for like 2 years, 2016 to 18.
Mm.
And through one of the clients that I found on LinkedIn, I was able to get into a production house, work as a writer there. So before getting there, I used to write around 6,000 to 10,000 words a day worth of articles. Okay. Eventually, a year and a half into that, I was like, okay, I'm just done with writing content, basic rehashing things, or writing articles which didn't really mean anything to me. So I looked into other avenues of writing where I could actually put some creative sense into it, right? So I figured out, okay, script writing is a very in demand thing. You know what I did? I just went on YouTube, just typed out how can you write a script. So there is this platform called Celtex, which helps you write script in a proper format. I watched a few videos of that. 1-2 days I researched on it. I wrote some templates, like some portfolio work. Two, three of them I wrote it, and I put it on Upwork. I changed my header in from a content writer to a script writer. Within the next week, I got like 2 clients, and I
Okay.
overnight turned into a script writer. So
But
yeah,
you
it's
were smart enough to use it to your advantage, I would say.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
See, now that I look back with hindsight, I can say that okay, I was being very smart, but at that time, I felt like I felt like I didn't belong there. Like I'm a fake script writer. But eventually I realized, okay, if I can actually do it, I'm not fake. I'm not faking it. I can actually do it. So within the next 6 months, I got so many script writing projects. I even wrote for Big Basket, IPL, a few corporate clients here and there.
Just
Uh,
want to give like
yeah,
a small hint to the viewers. IPL is one of the biggest Premier League games in the world, and it's definitely the biggest in India. So it's Indian Premier League, and they have cricket, and most Indians would know it already. Okay, continue.
yeah. So that happened, and the same guys who gave me the work for the IPL and same company for Big Basket, eventually they gave me a call saying that why don't you join as a full time employee here? So 2018 this happened, and I'll tell you, I was very lucky enough to somehow figure things out on the go, and I worked there for like 3.5 years. But the 3.5 years that I worked there, right, completely changed the trajectory of my career. So I started out as a scriptwriter there. Because it's a video production company, I was able to get involved with every aspect of production. From let's assume a client comes, they want to do some video for this things. So because I was involved in the pre-production thing, which is writing, concept development and writing, I was able to like connect with them directly, get the requirement, and come here, explain it to the pre-production team, work on the scripting, then tell the cinematographer, the line producer, director, everything, this is what I want at the shooting floor. Because I was a writer, they sometimes even took me into the shooting floor. So I was able to like learn the end-to-end process. Even when it came to editing part, the editor would call me, because you're the writer, you'll have to explain it to me, which shot should come here and there and stuff. I had first-hand experience of getting involved with the complete process of video production over the next 3.5 years. 2018, I was just 2016, I was just a writer, someone who writes website content or articles and stuff. 2018, I became a script writer, a phony one to start with, but I eventually got into being someone who is good. By the time it was 2021, I knew the end-to-end process of video production. So yeah, that's where I was once I got into that company. So we'll go to the next part, right?
Yeah, and what happened after that? So you stayed there, you learned as much as you could. You had like great clients on the side. Why did you choose to move to a different venture? What was the drive that you got, like go after the safety?
Okay, so eventually, after being there for like 3.5 years, almost 4 years, I knew that there is nothing new that I can learn from there. So the next plan was to either work with some other company or start something on my own. And if I was like some 25-year-old or like a 26-year-old, it would have been a good plan to just jump into some other company and learn more, connect with more people, network and stuff, and learn a lot more of these things. But then I figured out, okay, I'm already 31, 32. Probably this is the only time where I can take one more risk. If I'm like 35, 36, I have a family of my own, it might not be a good idea to, start a company. So I thought, okay, probably this is the right time to just experiment one more time. I've been experimenting throughout my life, probably one more chance I have. And that's when I thought, okay, I'll change my blog, Rambling Joint, into a video production company. And in 2022, I registered. And it was a very difficult journey, but I think luck was on my side. Through my 4 years of working in the previous company, I was able to nurture some relationships over there with my fellow cinematographers, photographers, editors, and stuff. And I was able to assemble a team who works with me to start with on a project basis. And they were all in. Many of them actually came forward and said that, the first few projects, I'm going to do it for free for you. So that really helped. Over the next 3-4 months, we were able to work with small clients, coffee shops, restaurants, other small businesses, and make videos for them so that we have a good portfolio. And I think 4 months into working on developing our portfolio, I had started doing something from the beginning, which was just going to LinkedIn every day, just searching for CXOs, like chief executive officers, marketing officers, financial officer, whatever, sending them connects, mostly like marketing officers work. And then once they connect with me, just send them a introductory emails message saying that, hey, this is me, so and so, nice to connect with you. I am a video producer. If you want something like this, please just let me know. 4 months into doing this, I was lucky enough to connect with one of the marketing officers from a premium university in Bangalore. And they said, why don't you come meet me tomorrow? I was not at all expecting this. We went there, had a meeting. He asked me for the portfolio. I showed these things. He said, why don't you come up with a proposal, like a concept and a proposal, the quotation, we'll do it. And from there, it just clicked. We did like some 4 or 5 projects with them over the past 2 years. Then we have another client, a prominent hospital client. Then we are still doing work with IPL, even though as not as a company, but me as an executive producer. So all this actually helped me build my company into what we are right now. So we within the first 4 months of working, we were able to make 7-figure income. So yeah, that was a big deal for us. So I'd say that even though I've put a lot of hard work, just waking up every day and shooting for some people for free, and even sending just hundreds of messages to people over LinkedIn every day, there was a little bit thing called luck, which was on my side to
No,
help me
I would
connect
say
with the
like
right people.
I would say not just luck. You are very patient, and when you are patient, there is nothing you can't achieve. So I
uh,
would say like you are very patient. When you said like 4 months, you didn't say it as a big deal. You said like I tried for 4 months, and then this proposal came. But 4 months is still 4 months, and you were trying to really your best every day to get it done. So you were very patient. That makes a big difference.
I was very patient on the outside, I'd say that, but inside there was a fire growing. I still remember there were days when I couldn't sleep. So I that 4 months, right? I'll tell you one thing about entrepreneurship. When you start out, most of the day, right, you'll be just sitting and doing nothing. There's nothing for you to do. If you have work, you can do that. But when you have started, you don't really have any work. You don't really have much to do. You can connect with certain people. You can do this and that. But within like 3-4 hours, all the things that you can do is exhausted. So most of the time, you'll be just sitting alone and with your thoughts, and that's nerve wracking. Okay, that 4 months, right? 4 months is translates to around 120 days. I finished Modern Family, which is a 11 season series. So yeah, I'd like to tell anyone watching, if you want to be an entrepreneur, make sure that there'll be a lot of sitting around doing nothing, which you'll have to go through. You will have to be very patient. So yeah, I was patient on the outside, but I had a fire brewing inside me.
Growing inside. And what like so what is happening now in life,
Now,
and not just with work but generally with you, like in your thinking, in your outlook of the world, how has it changed all this journey?
see, I am at a much more comfortable position. If I want something, I don't really have to think twice. Like my health, my sleep, everything had taken a backseat during my times working for the company, and also when I started my business. But now I have, I'll tell you my usual schedule. Every month, probably we'd have like 4 or 5 days, or like maybe 7 days of shoots, and another 4 days of meetings. And the rest of the time, you're either at the post production floor or you are sitting at home. So I have a lot of time for myself, and I'm able to like involve in things that I never really was able to in the past. So I've started playing cricket every Sunday. We have like people around here who we catch up and we play cricket for like 4 hours. You can't, it's not something that I could imagine when I was working for someone. I swim every day, almost every day, for like at least half an hour to 1 hour. I've also started running every morning. And yeah, I have not been able to fix my sleeping schedule, but there is an overall improvement in my life where I'm more at peace. I know that I need to like find new clients, make more money so that my business can move forward. I still have that another kind of the anxiety fire, and also the fire to like move forward, but it's a little more under control. There is a lot more uh, peace that I am at right now. So yeah,
And also
life
like
is
I
much
feel
more
like
easier right now.
the way you talk about it, I feel like you find a bit more purposeful in life,
Yeah,
and you kind of feel aligned to it. This is something I enjoy. This makes like my money problems, or it pays, and there is people who depends on me, and overall it feels like a play, like a game, and I can see you enjoy it. So that affects your health. You take care of it
true.
much more better.
True. This makes complete sense. I still remember, even though I was doing some good work with my previous company, I knew that, what is the end game? Like, where am I going next? But now that I have my own stuff going on, even though it's not like every day I'm getting some new clients, making tons of money, I'm making enough. I'm happy. I'm content with that. I know I want to grow, but I know that there is certain steps that's involved in growing, and it takes time. So I'm not like really worried. The first year and a half, I was really worried, even though we had projects and there were like in between times, you don't really have much work for like 3-4 months. You'll be doing like some few works here and there, which wouldn't make much of a difference. So at that time, I used to be like very much filled with anxiety and stuff. But now I know eventually it will work out. So I am much more at peace. I know that things will work out. Eventually, it has to work out when you're putting in the effort. But it'll be very, it'll compound. It'll take its own time. It'll be
Compound,
like
yeah, exactly.
yeah. So I'm just enjoying the journey. That's what. I'm not worried about the destination anymore. I'm keeping myself small milestones. Reach there, then I'll think about the rest. So the journey I'm just enjoying. So I've also got back into riding a lot. I can plan like 1 week worth of riding journey across South India or like here and there these days. So yeah, I have a lot more time for myself and introspect about things and have fun with life.
The point you are reaching there, what do you think about life generally?
Okay, generally. So, my idea about life has changed over time. There were times when things were pretty dark, um, where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I was a proper nihilist, where I felt like it's all BS. But then over time, I've realized there is. I don't think there is a purpose in life. Life doesn't. You are not born with a purpose. It's actually you who have to find your purpose. Okay, you figure it out. So that has actually led me to become an optimistic nihilist. If you're here, you have this life. You didn't ask for it; it was given to you. You never wanted it because, but now you have got it. Just live as a good person, do good things to other people. Make people happy who are around you. Be a unproblematic person eventually, and do good things in life. That's it. Yeah, I don't think about purpose that much, but just doing things that makes people happy just makes me happy. That's it.
Now we're going to go to one of the final questions. What is there in the store in the future? I know you have. Tell me.
I might have to add one more thing because I don't want to come across as a very nice person or something. Yeah, see,
I understand what you said there. I feel like personally, one person could be nice, but when it comes to their job, when it comes to their business, they could be ruthless. So both can exist in a person. I feel like, like people feel like you need to always have the same kind of profile. They're like, you're always serious, always like angry. But no, you can be angry on the field to win the game. And you can be very calm when you are back home. So that's the nice balance about life.
Yeah, that's true about me also. So please, whoever is watching this, know that even though I'm projecting like a saint, projecting myself as a saint, that's not the case. There are times when I, also deviate from the path.
From the path, like everyone else.
Yeah.
But the final question, one of the final questions were like, what is the milestones you have? Like, like I'm not talking about like maybe like not the end of things, but where are you moving towards?
So my field, it's into like writing for videos, right? So eventually I want to, the end goal is writing and directing a movie. Okay. But right now I slowly want to get into that film field by just dipping my leg into it. Right now we are working only for corporate clients, which is a completely different ball game when it comes to the film industry. So I don't have any connections. I know a few people who are in the field little bit, but it's not something I can just go tell them and they'll just embrace me and be like, hey, come be part of this. But I slowly want to get into that field and dip my toes into it and see if it's something that can work out. So next step would be probably working on a creative video project that's my own, not for a corporate or anything. Write a probably short film or a documentary that I have written, directed, and produced.
You will have, I would say, a much more mature view about how to handle it, how to execute with all this experience that you build up all the time. Final question is that Like when we started, you were mentioning about, like, your parents seeing you as a dumb kid, or you're dyslexic, and people were kind of looking at you from a point of view that you might be a failure in life, right? What would you say that to that kid from the future, or any kid in that space? What do you want them to think like?
uh, you're absolutely not a failure. That's one thing I want to tell him. Just enjoy the journey. You've been through a lot, you know that. Just enjoy the journey. Do the bare minimum. You have always done the bare minimum whenever faced with a situation, right? Just go with the flow, enjoy life, and not think that you're a loser. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I just
think,
want to
like,
give him a hug. You know.
yeah, give him a hug. And more like life, I why I asked you, because it's more like life have plans for everyone, and it's very hard to know by just looking at a kid where they would end up at. Because, for example, when I was listening to your story, you are very patient. You took the risk when needed, and you were like learning from what you have experienced. Those skills sometimes get you to very different positions. Like it can project you, or get you a good mix of traits than a child who might be very bright and had a problem in taking risk, or being patient, or accumulating those experiences. So when people look at other people and kind of like judge them being lower than they expected, and they should understand they might in time cross everyone else, if life aligns in a certain way.
See, that's a great point. Actually, I'm listening to a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth right now. I just started listening to it this afternoon, and the main point that the introduction itself speaks about how it's not talent that gets you to places. It's actually the grit that you have, the perseverance, how you put your mind into something and actually learn ways, right? If you look at the footballing world, one of the major examples that we have two of the goats in the footballing world is Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. Messi is immensely talented, but Cristiano is something who has had to, who was not that talented but had to work hard on his skills and get to where he is. Even though I'm a Messi fan, I really trust that he's something who has worked harder. So if you put your mind into it, right, with grit, you can actually achieve more than someone who actually has a talent. Yeah, someone who actually couldn't read or write has become a writer. So if I can do this, right, anyone can do it. That's what my point is. If you put your mind into it, I'll tell you one more thing. It doesn't mean that you wake up every day, be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this today, do this tomorrow. It's not going to work like that. You always have like good days and bad days. It's always like a ups and downs, a wave with ups and downs, right? So it's about just doing the right thing when you're faced with, not just doing the right thing, just following your heart when you are faced with difficult decisions. So it will eventually compound and get you to where you are. Even if you have 100 failures, right, it can actually be the stepping stone towards that one success that you are looking for. And when you hit that one success, right, there is no stopping you. So yeah, that's kind of what my life has been. I've always been an underachiever, but yeah, I don't consider myself to be at a great place or anything, but I feel that I'm coming out of that underachiever's phase, because people around me have also started recognizing, oh, he used to be something like this, but now he's this. Okay, I'm not boasting. There are like few of my colleagues, not my colleagues, my friends who are also in the similar creative field and stuff, who are planning to start their own business because they have seen me start mine and have got it to be a little bit of successful one. So that truly makes me happy. I'm actually working with a friend of mine to help him set up his company right now, which is just one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah, you become an inspiration. That is definitely a
That's what they
strong
say. I don't
motivation
feel
as
that
well.
way, but yeah, it's nice. Yeah, motivation. Yeah. So that is like one of the testament to the what I've done. I feel at peace just hearing that. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have come to the end of the podcast. I just want to tell everyone who is listening to go down to the description and find Shankar, and definitely like check him out and see where his journey is going to. And Shankar, super nice talking to you. We are going to talk
Thanks, man.
maybe like 5 minutes more after the podcast. I just wanted to like close it off the podcast. So, guys, I hope you guys had a great time listening to Shankar and me. And please follow up for more videos like this.
Can I add on one more thing?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So I've been interviewed sometimes before, like many times through college and stuff. But this is one of the most interesting interview that I've ever had. Where rest of the things it's talks about the entrepreneurial journey. This is something different that I felt. This is a unique interview, and I've thoroughly enjoyed being here. And I hope you enjoy it too. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.